Hey, how's it going, guys? Jeremy Donson here with thedrumprofessor.com, and today we're going to be going over Highway to Hell by AC/DC. We're going to start at 52 seconds just before the chorus. Here we go. So the beginning of this, it's very common for AC/DC to do basic beat, bass and snare and. Of course, no song's exactly the same. There's extra basses here and there, maybe a different snare, crashes, etc. But that's the core beat to many AC/DC songs. So whenever he says highway, I'm on the high. On high is when you crash. Okay, so that's what you do when you crash into the chorus. So with music, let's put that in and see what it sounds like. Okay, so on highway, bass and snare and, anytime I say and, that's just simply hi-hat by itself. So bass and snare and bass and snare and bass and snare and. Okay, after that, then we do the crashing part. Let's do that section one more time. Okay, now he's going to be doing a heavy hi-hat here during this section, which just means you crack the hi-hats to give it a heavier sound. So the beat with the heavy hi-hat sounds like this. Then we do the crashing. So on this one, the first crash is with the snare. The next two are with the bass drum. Okay, so putting that together, it sounds like this. Then the next two are exactly the same. You do the same amount of bass and snare ends, and then you do, the only difference is, instead of going snare, bass, bass with the crash, you do bass, snare, bass. Okay, so instead. So again, the first one is snare, right? Snare, bass, bass. The second one and the third time is bass, snare, so putting that with the music to see what this sounds like, let's try it. Okay, then the fourth time through is different. So the fourth time does this. So bass and snare and bass and snare, snare. Okay? So with that, with the music, let's check it out one more time. So that last part, you're going to cut out one of the bass and snare ends. So it's bass and snare and bass and snare, snare. Doing that again. Bass and snare and bass and snare, snare. After that snare we pause, and then you'll hear just hi-hat chick. Hi-hat chick, you just use your foot. Simply raise and close the hi-hat, and there you have your hi-hat chick. So let's listen to that and count. We're gonna count to 7, and then we're gonna do this fill, which we'll go over in just a second. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 chicks, then we do this fill. So this fill is going to start with the flam. Easiest way to do a flam is just simply raise your right hand higher than your left and bring them down at the same time. And you get a nice flam, not too separated, not too close, but just right, slightly separated. So let's say that last fill again. So bass and snare and bass and snare, snare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 and. So if you're having trouble coming in with that flam on time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and with the flam, then you can do what's called subdivide, which means you count faster than the normal beat. So for example, instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way up to 7, you can count in eighth notes, which means you count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and. Then the chances of you being on time are greater because you're counting at a faster speed. You're counting in eighth notes instead of quarter notes. So that's just a little tip to help you if you're having trouble coming in on time on that. The best way to do that on time, or the easiest way that I've found, is just to raise your sticks on 7 and then come down on and. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Alright, so let's go over when to start the hi-hat check. We're going to start it on count 2. So let's say we're in the fourth fill here, the fourth crashes here. So bass and snare and bass and snare, snare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or counting in eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. And then there you go. So that'll help you quite a bit to come in with that flam on time. Now once we do the flam, the rest is just a high tom and then a crash with the bass, and then we are now out of the chorus. So that's it. Flam, tom, crash. Then it goes back into the second verse, and you do the same. You do the same beat again, but an extra bass drum. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. We can go over that as well. Okay, so putting this all together, this is what we have. Alright, and there you have the chorus for Highway to Hell by AC/DC. So I hope you enjoyed this and it helped you out a lot. And in case you didn't know, I am currently offering a free one-on-one live jam session with me. It's similar to Skype, but a way better software. So if you would like to take advantage of that, please do just sign up for it and pick your time that you would like to do the lesson. And I'd love to meet you and see what level that you're at and how to get you to the next level on the drums. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.